Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, and in this Red Game Telecom video we're going to be discussing everything Xbox and Microsoft related. There has been a slew of news over the past few days, and not all of it, to say the least, has been good news for Camp Xbox. We've had, of course, the revelation that the eagerly anticipated Scalebound has gone bye-bye. Both Platinum and Microsoft have now confirmed it, and it's a real shame. I actually really was looking forward to this game. It's probably one of my most hyped titles for this year, and it didn't just look amazing from a graphical standpoint, it really did look interesting from a gameplay aspect as well. So I'm really disappointed it's gone bye-bye. However, there are a couple of other pieces of news. First of all, Phil Spencer is not sure whether Scorpio will be shown at E3. I think it was pretty expected that we would see at least something on the system. However, Phil Spencer has said that honestly, not sure yet, but I know people want this. In other words, he's not really certain how far along they are in the console's development. I'm hoping they'll get something out there though, like perhaps an estimated release date, or perhaps, I don't know, like a price point, or more information on the specifications, or perhaps their targeted graphics, or something like that. Just something to give us a bit of excitement as we go into the holiday season, which of course is when we're expecting the system to launch. Naturally, price point and all that stuff is just up in the air at the moment. I think it could be a very interesting system for Microsoft. It could essentially, in many ways, do what Valve tried to do with the Steam OS/Steam boxes, which, to be honest, kind of fell flat on its face, which is a real shame. I don't know what it is with Valve, and that's a bit of a separate topic, and to be honest, I could kind of rant on that. Valve have this habit of starting projects, and they don't necessarily push it as hard as what you'd expect. And I think the Steam hardware was really a chance for us to have a good alternative, but obviously that's not to be. So perhaps Project Scorpio, for folks who don't necessarily want to get into PC gaming all the way, but do want that 4K experience, maybe Project Scorpio will be kind of like the halfway house between the PC and the Xbox, especially because obviously Microsoft are creating a lot of DX12 titles, or at least are they? So this one does verge into rumour territory, but according to Shinobi, who is a pretty well-known insider, he has said that there is not an exactly stellar launch lineup of games. Now obviously, we've had pretty nice selection. That's not to say that, the Xbox One has been devoid of good titles. It's had, naturally, Gears of War, we've seen Halo, and a couple of others, but Shinobi says, and I quote, "Unless they have an entire first-party studio secretly hidden away somewhere, I personally cannot deduce who might be working on a surprise. 343 is working on Halo, that's their bread and butter. The Coalition is working on Gears, Turn 10 is working on Forza, and Rare is on Sea of Thieves and other prototypes that aren't anywhere near ready to be shown. And, well, Lionhead's not so much alive anymore." This first-party source noted to me that this time last year they had clear knowledge of what's coming in the pipeline, but right now it's radio silent, which to me says that not much is on the horizon, software-wise. Phil's been adamant now that throwing money towards third-party exclusives doesn't grow their brand, and they likely won't go that route. But big new IPs need significant resources and capital, and I can't see where that's going to come from. Worryingly, from the point of view of Rare, supposedly they're under a lot of pressure for Sea of Thieves, and I'll read the quote. "I wish them the best, but it certainly won't be pretty if it underperforms. The studio is basically built around service-driven games now, and from what I'm told, the project is costing Microsoft a lot." Now, that sounds a little bit like what happened to Lionhead, so hopefully that's not going to be case in point. Phil Spencer, of course, has said a few bits and pieces regarding the cancellation. One of the things he did say just recently is that PR wins are not the point. He said on Twitter, and I quote, "Xbox is doing well, holiday were good, lots of people playing a lot of games, which is what it's all about." And he also said that I'd add happiness with the product trumps all, confidence in the brand is important, PR wins aren't really my focus, end quote. Now, there is a lot of different ways you can take that, but I think some people are going to be pretty pissed. I know Xbox owners who basically bought the system for a few exclusives, and Scalebound was one of them. Now, arguably, for me, it's like, yes, Scalebound was pretty awesome, but there are some PS4 games I'm really looking forward to. The PC's got quite a few, and so exclusive-wise, I'm annoyed Scalebound's gone, but I'm not like super. After all, games get cancelled all the time. It's not the end of the world. There's going to be a new game which comes out or announced in the next couple of months, which I think, ooh, shiny, and I'll jump to that. But at the end of the day, it's like if you're really looking forward to a game, especially if you're teetering on the verge between two systems, and you think, hey, Xbox has got Scalebound, I'm going to go with that, it does piss people off. So, although I believe Phil has done a really marvellous job, especially compared to his predecessor, which we won't talk about too much in this video, because I'll probably start foaming at the mouth with bitterness. I would say that confidence in the brand, which he brings up, and PR wins, which aren't his focus, yeah, that's true. Confidence in the brand is very important. Unfortunately, what hits the confidence in your brand really hard is when you don't have those exclusives, when games start getting cancelled. And obviously, this is not the first time Microsoft have cancelled some games. Quite frankly, I think that we want to see Microsoft do well. I mean, I do. I don't want Sony to have the clear rule of the roost when it comes to consoles. Although, of course, we can only wait and see what happens with Nintendo. I'm still on the verge, after all. We haven't seen their conference, at least as the time I'm recording this, which is about 4:40 PM UK time, on the 12th of January. So, it's like, really, Sony, kind of ironically, have just said that there are some titles which we can expect some surprise announcements. Now, I don't feel that the timing of those quotes is by accident at all. It's obviously just to say, hey, you know how Xbox has just had a few cancellations? Well, guess what? We don't. We've got a few other games. And it's a real shame because, as Phil points out, the holiday season for Microsoft was really good. Beforehand, in like 2014, 2013, the PS4 was kicking the Xbox's ass when it comes to sales. Yes, the Xbox wasn't selling awfully, especially compared to like the PS3 at the start of its generation, but, I don't think it did as well as what many had hoped. So I don't want Microsoft to start regressing here in terms of their sales figures. Now, Microsoft, to be fair to them, also have PC gaming, they've got Windows, they've got a whole bunch of other services and hardware, and God knows what else, which is going to start putting them out. And obviously, everyone and their mother will rush out and buy the latest Halo, they'll buy the latest Gears of War, they'll buy the latest Forza, because those are the big wins. However, just how you can't build a PlayStation brand around just Uncharted and The Last of Us and a couple other games, you do need those other titles to appeal to people. Hopefully we can see something from Microsoft, and honestly, as much as it might pain Phil to grease the pockets of a couple of developers to have titles either released early on their system or exclusively on their system, I actually would say that it might be the time. After all, Sony have been pretty relentless with this. Street Fighter V comes to mind, where you've got, and not just Street Fighter V, loads of games have come exclusive to the PS4 in terms of the console side of things, but they're also released on the PC, and it works rather well. Now, arguably, in some ways, Microsoft kind of benefit from this because the PC is somewhat their domain, and you need Windows typically to be able to play these games. After all, Linux support not so much with going well, but it doesn't really grease their pockets. So in my opinion, at least in the short term, if this is true, I would like to see Phil to kind of renege on what he said in the past and just start greasing Capcom or whomever's pockets and say, hey, you know what? Let's start releasing some games exclusive to the Xbox, and the PC. After all, porting, especially between the two platforms, is pretty easy. You've got DirectX 12. Quantum Break was a bit disappointing, but I still maintain it was a bit better than what some members of the press kind of jumped on. Although I did get a save corruption, hence why I've not continued to play it, which is kind of sucky. But that is more to do with the fact that I had to reinstall Windows, and it was a whole thing. But, yeah, so I'm not really sure how to take this, to be honest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.